Okay, so hi everyone. I am going to try to solve this question for us. I hope it helps someone in the coming papers that we'll be writing. I think the next time, we'll be writing the programming. I think that will be next week, Thursday. So I'm going to try to analyze this program so that we see how best we can tackle it when the time comes. So this is the scenario that has been given to us, and it is to write a program for an automatic vending machine that serves 8 food types to users based on their personal information as follows. Now we have a male who there are 3 sections. We have female who are less than 20 years and weigh more than 53 kg. We have a female who less than 20 years and weigh in that order. Okay, so I think you can just take the question paper and go through it whilst we do the analysis. All right, so I did an illustration here. Uh, I did an illustration here. I'm trying to see how best we can use that to understand the scenario well. Okay, so with our program, we will have a starting point. Okay, we have an entry point. So consider it as maybe you have just written a welcome message that says "Welcome to Food Dispenser Program" or "Food Dispenser um, Application." Okay, so that there's a starting point of your application. Now the next thing you want to do is, now the question requires us to ensure that there is a lock on the program. So you need to enter your PIN before you can bypass that. So in order to do that, we want to place a lock that will ensure that it checks to see if the person is actually verified user or not. So if you're a verified user and you enter the right PIN, it should take you to the right place. Otherwise, it should not. So in this case, in the worst case scenario, if you don't enter the right PIN, it should take you outside. It should just tell you this is wrong. I mean, you've entered the wrong PIN, and you cannot do this. Now, the arrows, I'm using 2 arrows to tell us that okay, you entered the wrong PIN. Try again. Wrong PIN. Try again, and then if you try 4 times, and at least it should log you out. Okay. Now, in the best case scenario, you actually enter the right PIN, then it should take you to the next part of the program. Okay. Now, when you are through, there are 2 things we can have. I have decided to categorize it in. We have 2 determining factors. We have male and female, right? So we have the males and females. So when you are successful, then the program should then check whether you are a male or you are a female. Okay, so if you're a female, if you're a male, where I'm using the yellow to represent the male, the program should do this. Now the program needs to check your age, whether you are under 20 years or you are over 20 years. So if you are under 20 years, then the program can go on to look again to check whether if your age is under what 53 kg. Okay, to see whether if your weight is above 53 kg, so that it will dispense the food to you, or if it is below 53 kg, then it will dispense the food to you with respect to that very weight. And if you are above 20 years or more, I mean if you have 20 years or more, then it should also check again whether if your kg or your weight is 53 kg or not. And if it is not, then it should check again and then dispense the right food. Now in the case of if you're a female, it's just the same scenario, a repeated scenario here. Okay, so if your weight is more than 53, it will give you some particular food. If your weight is less than or equal to 53, it will give you a particular food. Then the same way, if your age was more than 20 years, then also it should check and then see. If your weight is more than 53, it will give you a particular food. If your weight is less than 53, it will give you. Now you can see we've completely analyzed the program, and then we can now start our coding process. Is that okay? Okay, so now, mind you, in this case, every block, every section could be taken as an indented block of code. Okay, so we have here the lock area could be indented together, where we have one indentation going into the main code and another indentation logging you out to tell you this is inaccurate. Then when we come into the next indentation, which is this area, we can have two indentations that we have either a male or a female. Okay, now if it's a male, we have another block of code that is inside that one too. Then inside the male, we also have the H indentation, whether 20, in that order. Once we start coding, you see how that works. Now I'm going to show you how my code works, and then we can take it from there. So here is my code. Let me see if I can increase my font size for you to see how that works. Okay, so I'm just going to increase my font a little bit bigger so that we can see well. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so here's how my code is going to work. So we have our, this is the welcome, the starting point. So the program starts. You can consider this as where the program starts. Okay, and then it asks me for the pin. So you can consider this part of the program asking for the pin, that is the lock, as illustrated in my diagram here. Okay, so you can consider it here as a lock here. Now I'm supposed to enter the right code pin. So in this case, if I enter 4778, this is a wrong pin. So what happens is that the program goes down here and tells me no, and goes back and tells you have to enter the pin again. Now, but in each case that I try to enter, it is monitoring to ensure that, to check how many times I've tried to enter the code. You understand? So in this case, if I try another one again, it will tell me this is incorrect. And then I try another one again, this is incorrect. Now, this is the last time I could possibly try. And when I enter this, it will tell me you've exceeded your number of trials and you cannot try again. So as you can see, the program keeps going here and back, going here and back. Once in each case, once it goes in here and checks, and it counts how many times I've tried. So it has counted 4 times, and since it's counted 4 times, it tells me that it cannot go back again. It just terminates in here. Right. So let's restart our program again and see that we are entering the right code, 78, and then yes, pin confirmed. Now it goes into the next stage. So in this case, what happens is that it was successful, so it went into the green box. Okay, it went into the green box. Now that it's in the green box, I need to know whether the user is a male or a female. So I need to get that information. So I'm asking, enter your gender, male or female. So if you enter 1, which is against a male will be selected. If you enter 2, it's also a female. So I'm going to enter 1. In this case, I am saying that I'm a male. Then the next thing for me to do is to check whether, because I said male, so it's going to focus on only this side of the code. Okay, so it's going to check. Now I'm going to check whether it's my age. So I have to collect that information as to whether what my age is. So the user age, so I'm going to say 20. So in this case, if we enter 20, which will mean that's the second block of code out, because that is equals to, or is greater than or equals to 20. So if I enter 20, that means this one will select. If I enter anything less than 20, then this box will play. So I'm going to enter something that is here. So Okay, so this is sorry. So this is I'm going to enter 20, which means that's the second box that is going to play. Now I need to also check again and find out what is the age of the person. So in this case, my code is already now inside here. It now has two other decisions to make and see, okay, whether it needs the weight of the user to make that decision, whether the weight is going to be more than 53 kg or more less than 53 kg. So now I'm going to enter I'm going to enter I'm going to enter 54. Okay, in that case, if I enter 54, it means that is more than 53 kg. That's my weight is more than that. So whatever is in here is going to be what is going to display, which is 54. I press enter and it tells me you are taking type 7 food. The same way works for let's try if it was a female. It should be I'm going to enter my pin 78 and I'm going to enter I'm a female too, and I'm going to enter my age, which is say 23, and then now I have to check my weight to 44, and it tells me you are taking type 4 food. So you realize that we have finished analyzing our program, and once we have finished analyzing the program this way, the code writing becomes easier. So let's get into our code now. So I'm just going to create a new just going to create a new file, Python file, and say temporary code. I'm just going, okay, food dispenser. Okay, you can name it whatever you want. Okay, now with the way the code is, I usually like to break it into smaller chunks of code that performs different actions. Okay, so I need to write a function that will determine whether a user pin is correct or is not correct. So to do that, I'm going to write def is pin. Okay, so that's to tell me that this function is going to check whether the pin is true or not. So what will the function need? The function will need the pin code that the user will be provided. That is the parameter that will be needed. And then what I will do is I need to declare my pin code already in here. In the real world, you will have to pick that information from a database or an external file. You understand? So in this case, I'm going to declare my pin as pin is equals to 4578. So this is the pin that master said we should use to check. So it could be whatever pin that the user will use. Now we need to check if the pin code that is provided to us is equals to the pin. Then we can say return true. Okay, else return false. So what this program is going to do is that it's going to take whatever that a user will send inside here. Okay, if the pin matches what is already in here, it will tell us that the pin is true. It will tell us, yeah, it is true. Or if it is not a correct pin, then it will tell us that the pin is false. So if it doesn't match, it will give us false. If it matches, it tells us true. Now let's go back. So we have put in a function that will check the pin here. Okay, then let's look here again and see. Okay, let's check. Let's make a function that will return whatever that what the type of food that the user is going to receive. So I'm going to define another function. So in this case, I'm going to define another function as food dispense food. Okay, so in here, what are the items I will need to use and determine that? I will need the gender of the person, I will need the person's age, and I will need the person's weight, right? So I need the person's gender, I need the person's age, I need the person's weight. So first of all, it will check the gender, then it comes to age level, then it checks the weight. So I need to declare those parameters. So I need gender, then I need age, then I need what? I will need weight. Okay, you can name this whatever you want. You can just put GAW, but it's more conventional to use words that reflect what your code stands for. Okay, now I have this looked at that. Now remember I told you each one here is going to stand for, so this item here is going to stand for an indented block of code. Okay, so let's define two. If gender is equals to male, okay, rather, I mean, usually I like to use more simplified information so that I am able to do this. Okay, so if gender is equals to male, then it will do something. Else, I would rather use elif. Else, if gender is equals to what do you call it? Female, then it will also do another set of questions. What if the gender is wrong? I mean, the person provided with a wrong gender, so we can set another block of code that will take care of that. So we say this one will do something else. For now, let's just put wrong gender. Okay, now I want this function to rather return a number. Okay, so I want it to return a number. So to do this, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say that if the gender is a male, let's go inside. We need to check the age. So we need to check the age. So inside the male gender age, so I'm going to write if age is less than 20. Okay, that is this section. So I want to do a block of code that will take care of this one. Okay, so if gender is less than 20, okay, it has to check for something to again. Okay, if it's less than 20, then it should do something. Check weight here. So I'm only making a comment as at now. Else it should do something else. Okay, so in this case, what is going to happen is that if it is less than 20, it will do this code, or if it is more, which we are saying that if it is more, then it will jump to this box. Okay, if it is less than 20, then this whatever inside this code is going to run. Else it's going to be this. So let's do that. So here too will be don't mind the error notification. We'll fix that. Okay, so now in here, so this one will, the else block here will take care of if the age of the person is more than 20 or is equal to 20. But if the age of the person is what do you call it, is less than 20, then this block of code will enter. Now inside that one, what is inside the 20? If it is less than 20, is going to be, we are going to check the weight too, whether the weight is 53 kg or it is less than 53 kg. So we'll decide another if block. So here we are having nested ifs. Okay, we are having nested ifs. So I'm going to have if if weight, that I'm calling this parameter here. So if weight is greater than 53, that's in the first case scenario here. If the case is greater than 53, what should happen? It should return what is the value of the if the age is less than 53. Let me check that one. So we said a male. So let me take it from a male who is less than 20 years and have a weight of 53. I mean above 53. So let's check in our code. A male who is less than 20 years, yes, and weigh more than 53. So this is true. Okay, this is the line of code that should work. Okay, so we are going to say that the code should return 5. Okay, because that is the type of food that is going to be dispensed. Okay, else return what? What if the person is less than 20 years but the kg is less than 53 and weigh 53 or less? Then it will return 6. So I'm going to put return 6. Okay, now we come back to the age. What if the age is more than 20? Because that's the else block of this one. Okay, so if it's more than 20, then we need to check the age again. So I can simply just copy this. It's the same thing, and then paste in here. Now if the weight is more than 53, let's check if male who are less than 20 years. So now we've done this. We are going to do a male who are 20 years or more. So 20 years or more. 20 years or more. So 20 years or more. That's in this else block. Now we need to check again. Weigh more than 50 kg. If the person weigh more than 50 kg, that means here. That's if the weight is more than 50 kg. What type of food? We are going to dispense 7. So we're going to say return 7. Sorry. So dispense what? 7. Dispense 7. Or that's we are telling to return the number 7. Okay. And then in the other case, if a male who has 20 years or more and weighs 53 kg, then return us what? 8. So return us here 8. And that will mean we are done with the male block. Okay. Now if I'm done with the male block, all I need to do is just copy this back again and just go into the female block. Okay, go into the female block and paste it inside there, because it's just the same logic that is at play here. You have an age that is less than 20, to go inside and check the weight of the person, and that now all we need to know now is to check what kind of food that will be dispensed. So if the gender is a female and then the age is less than 20 and the weight is above 53, let's check that. Female who has less than 20 and the weight is more than 50 kg, type 1. So return 1, right? Then you will check if you are less than 20 yet your age is less than 53. That is the else block. That then definitely I'm sure is returning type 2. Okay, now and then we'll go to the next one. If the weight is if the age is more than 20, that is the else block here. If it's more than 20 or equals to 20, then we'll check for the weight. If the age is more than 53, that is an age more than 20 and then more than 53 kg, return type 3 food. Return type 3 food. So here, return 3. And then it's only logical to say the last one is 4. Okay. Now, we said let's ensure that if the person entered a wrong gender, then it should simply just else return 0. Okay, return 0. So that's to tell you the person will not be receiving food. Okay, so this block of code is going to handle dispensing the food. So now technically what I have done is that I have been able to put this one all together into a logic that handles displaying the whatever information that is supposed to be done here. Now the next one will now be for me to create another um, create another function, which probably I can choose to be the main app. The main app. Okay, the main app. In this place, I'll just print welcome to food dispenser, right? Then what I will now do is to start. You know, there are 3 parameters I need to collect from the user. So we'll start. Okay, we'll start. So in here is now where we are going to start executing. So the first block of code is going to be the key, what do you call it? The pin, checking the pin. So let me check that. So to do that, what I want to do, you know, I'm going to keep trying over and over, right? So since I'm going to keep trying over and over, let me declare a variable here and say trial equals to 0, right? Then I'll come in here and say while trials is less than 4, then keep doing this. Okay, while trial is less than 4, I'm going to take input from the user. So and that first one is going to be the pin, right? So now user input, I'm going to do user input is equals to we are going to collect an integer, so int, and then I'm going to put input, enter your pin. So what happens here is that, sorry, I'm using a comparison rather than an assignment, sorry, so this was wrong, so I just corrected that. Okay, so right here what is happening that we started with the to collect the user pin, so that we will then make a decision out of that one. Now we have 2 decisions to make here. Now if is pin, okay, in this case we have collected the user pin, and do you remember we created a parameter that is waiting to take that whatever the user will put in and then enter inside here and make a decision and tell us. So we said if it's pin, then I'm going to pass whatever we collected from the user here into the function is pin, which is a boolean. So user input, and then okay, just so that I make it look closer to the name, I'm going to say user pin, so that at least if anybody who takes my code, the person can understand it. So if it's pin, then it's going to go into the first block of code, else. So let me explain this. So now what happens here is that when the user enter his pin, okay, it will take that pin and go inside this function that we declared earlier on to take the number, go in there and check, is the pin the same as what the person has entered in here? Is it the same thing? If it is the same thing, then it will tell us true, it is true. And if it is not, it will be false. So what happens here is that if you return true, then it will do the first block of code. Else, it will go into the what? The second block of code. So we'll say here, I just want to make something pin confirmed. Else, I'll write here and say if it returns us a wrong pin, then I'll print to the user incorrect pin. Try again. Okay, then in here what I want to do is that I want to increment the number of trials. So I'll do trials because he has failed once, so I want to increase the trials by 1. Okay, and then I'll ask it to continue. But what happens here is that there's a problem. Okay, there's a problem. We need to be able to check. If not, this is going to keep on running as an indefinite loop. Okay, it will keep running throughout. It won't stop. So I need to check. In here. If trial is less than 4, then it will print this block of code. Okay, and say incorrect pin. Okay, incorrect pin. Sorry, incorrect pin, and then it will increment. The number of trials by 1, and then I have to declare that it has to continue. Okay, it has to continue. So what this does is that it simply jumps back to the top of it and collect another information. Otherwise, which means if the trials are more than 4 or is at 4, which is else, I'm going to print you have exceeded the maximum number of trials. Okay, now what I was just simply doing is that I was just only writing the code that is working here, back and forth. Okay, so you collect the information from the user, check through and all of that, and then we are done. Now we've been able to take care of this block. Okay, that is if the user enters something wrong, then it will take it. Now we go into the if it is true, that is if this one comes in here, if it is confirmed successful, then this block of code will work. So you realize that that is inside here. Being confirmed. Now we need to collect the user gender, right? We're going to collect the user gender because that's the next level of check for us to see. So we're going to say user gender is equals to input here. Now I like to usually limit you to what you can do. Okay, so what I will do instead is that I'm going to convert this one into an integer and collect it as enter. Okay, choose your gender, and then I'm going to use / and go to the next line, and then I'm going to say 1 is male. So the user will only be required to enter 1 or 2, and then we have 2 where we have female. Okay, right, so we've collected that. Now I need to quickly fix something. Realize that here we were collecting it's going to be expecting a character. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I know my number 1 is matching to male, right? My number 1 is matching to male, number 2 is matching to female. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to come back here to my code and rather change this to 1 as male, and I'm going to comment that out. Okay, and say male. Yes, male gender. Okay, and here I'm going to change it to 2 because I said number 2. I'm choosing number 2 to match my gender number 2. I hope you are following that. Right. So what that means is that here is going to wait for the user to enter a number. So let me just take this to the next line, and so this one is just only to point the user where to enter their next value. So in here, it will either take a 1 or 2. So if you choose 1, that's a male. If you choose 2, that's a female. Now I'm going to call that function that we declared to determine what is going to dispense. Okay, to determine what is going to dispense. So now I want to what I'm going to do is that I'm going to call that function. What is the function? We want to determine okay, before we can determine that, we need to be able to get the weight to. Okay, we need to get the weight to. We need to get the weight to before we can call this function. So we are assuming that the user have entered the gender, and now we are going to collect the next block of code, which is going to user weight. Okay, is equals to input, enter your weight. Awesome. Perfect. So after we have collected the user gender, we are collecting the user age. Now we've gotten all the variables we need. The next thing is now for us to dispense the what do you call it? The food. Okay. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say now put these 3 variables, the user gender, the user weight, and then the user gender. Okay, sorry, did we've collected the user gender, correct? We've collected the user weight, correct? And then there's one more parameter that is left, gender, age, and weight. Did we collect the age? Oh, sorry, we didn't collect. We were supposed to collect the weight, I mean the age. Right. So after the gender, we collect the weight. So I'm just going to do that here. So user age, that is very, very important. So the age is going to be an integer. You know, age is a whole number. So int, we are going to convert the user input into enter your age. Right. Awesome. So usually I like to put it in the next line so that the user will enter his age. So if I come in here to I could have, so the / n simply takes the line to the next line. Okay. Okay. So this is just a simple decoration for the to tell the user where is to enter their information. So in here too, I want to bring a / n forward. Right. So we first of all collect the user gender, then we'll collect the user age, then we'll collect the user weight. Now the next thing is for us to do what? Print. Determine the type of food that we are going to get. So in this case, we are going to call that function. We are going to call this function. We are going to call this one to come and do the job for us. So we're going to say dispense food, and the first parameter is gender. So we'll enter user gender. Then the second parameter is the user age. So we are going to pass in user age. Now the next parameter is user weight. So user weight. Now these values we are entering are arguments, but what we declare here to wait and collect that information are parameters. So parameters are defined in the function waiting for you to use them. Arguments instead are rather what the actual value you pass in to use and work. Okay, so right, we have been able to pass in those values. So now what happens is that the function is going to use the information we have provided to the function and come out with a result. Okay, it will return us a value, whatever value that is going to decide. So it first use the age check, and then check it first uses the gender check whether the person is a male or female. Then it knows which block of code is going to enter. It check the age and it jumps inside there. Then it goes into check the weight. Okay. Now we want to be able to receive the value that the function is returning. So what we will do is that we want to receive the value as food type. Okay, I'm just going to say food type. So in this case, whatever number, whatever number, you remember that this function is going to return at least one of these numbers. Okay, it's going to return one of these numbers, and so we want to collect that number and then use it and print it out. So in this case, we are going to do print, and then I want to format it using the formatting the print formatting styles. So I said you are receiving food. So in this case, I want to check how master phrases statement. So in this case, food type 4. Okay, so it's going to be food, then the number assigned there, food. So type 4, food type 1, type 3. So I'm going to do the same thing. So you are receiving type something. Okay, so I'm going to then call using what we call string interpolation. I'm going to call this one, and then that one will fit inside here. So food type, and then I do food. So what will happen here is that whatever number that is returned here will be saved here, and that number will now be transferred into this section. Okay, and then once we are done with that, we can then just say break, and we will be breaking out of our loop from this point. Okay, let's run our code and see. We may get some errors, and errors are very normal. Okay, yes. So I just ran the code, it's not working. But the problem is that we declared functions for each. So now we need to create an entry point where the program will enter from and run. Right now it doesn't have an entry point. Functions are always declared and waiting to be called. So right now we need to create an entry point for the program. So the entry point is usually if name. Okay, use this. Sorry, I don't know how this works, but there's a term for it. I forgot it. You don't need to know how the function works. You just need to know that it does this work for you. So if main, that's the entry point, you're going to use this. So you need to enter it the same way I entered, and then so you can see there's a play button already showing out here that what do you call it? That's the entry point. Okay, so now we can now call our application. You realize that when we want the action a function to play, we call it. So we said this is a function, right? This is a function. So since it's a function, we want to call it so that it will then play. So we call the app function, and then we are here. Now let's run. So when we run this code, Python will jump all the above information and come and look for the entry point, and then run. So here, let's run. Perfect. So we realize that our program is running right here. So it's asking us for the pin. So I'm going to enter my pin. I'm going to try to enter something wrong. 1122. Let's see. Incorrect pin. And then I'll enter 2233. Incorrect pin. 53344. Incorrect pin. And then this should be my last attempt. And then it ends. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it needs to tell us that you've exceeded the number of 4. So let's check our code. There's a problem. So if trials is more than 4 and that blah blah blah, then okay. So this is where our problem is coming from. Let me just clear this. Let's clear this and let's run our code again. 1 1 2 2 3 3 4 4. So I'm entering wrong pin. So incorrect pin. Okay, so what happens is that I guess I have to you know, yeah, this is part of coding, that you always have a logic problem, and then you look through, then you come to resolve it. Okay, so here's the problem. We realize that we said if the trial is less than 4, then it will not come in here again. But that also suggests that when a trial is less than 4, it will even get back again. Okay, because it will need to to um, it will need to bypass this condition before it can come in here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to turn this into true, so that it will always keep running. And then I'll come in here and say if it is true, if it evaluates into the else block, it should break out of it. Okay, now let's try this again and see. So I'm going to try again. This is incorrect. This is incorrect. This is incorrect. And then 1 2 3 4. It was supposed to end. Okay, so now we also have another logic problem. Okay, now you realize that I've entered 4 times. 1 2 3 4 5. So we need to check and ensure that we initialize it from 0. So which means by the time it gets to 4, it will have counted up to 5. So in that case, I have to initialize it to 1. You know, if you have numbers like 0 1 2 3 4, that means actually there are 5. You know, in programming, I mean, master have explained that to us, and you've gotten that concept well. So now let's run it again. I'm only trying to check the wrong side of the pin so that we get it. 2 2, and then we expect it to terminate. You have exceeded the number of times. So 1 2 3 4. Perfect. Now let's try to enter the right pin. So the right pin is 4 5 7 8. So which means our pin is confirmed. The next stage is to check whether the male or female. Then I enter one, it's a male. Enter your age. Then I say 20. Then I said enter your weight. Then I say 53. And then we have an error. We have got a problem. Okay, now we can fix that. Okay, so let's check this. If we check in our program, you can realize that it's already giving us pointers. It's telling us on line 61 of our code there's a problem. So let's start from there. Line 61. Line 61 is here. But line 61 is pointed to somewhere. Let's check. It's pointed to line 48. Line 48. Where is line 48? Line 48 here. Good. That is where our problem is coming from. Okay? Right. In that case, so what is the problem? So it means there's a problem with our function passing in the value in here. Okay, so let's go into our function and find out. Now you need to understand that getting errors is part of learning. Okay? The more you try to fix it, the more you try to understand it, the more you fix errors, the more you understand the code. Okay, so what is our problem? We said gender is equals to 1. Okay, let me check. When I was collecting my gender, did I collect it as yes, did I collect it as an integer? Yes, I collected it as an integer. Okay, so that is okay. That should work out. Let's go to the next value. Said age is also collected as an integer. User weight. Oh, this is where our problem is. You see, this is where our problem is. I'm collecting the user age You know, when you enter it raw into the input function, it collects it as a string. But in the dispense food function, it's waiting for an integer or a float. Okay, because a number is expecting a number. So what we need to do is we need to wrap this into a float, because a weight, your weight could be in decimal. Okay, it could be 2.4 or that. You can also choose to do it in an integer. That's also fine. Now let's run our code again. Let's run our code again. Let's enter our pin 4578. And then we have male, and we have age 23, and then 54. Yeah, so 54. It depends. It says that you are receiving type 7 food. Now let's cross check and see whether if logically we've done the right thing. So in this case, we say a male who is more than 20 years and has more than 54 years old. Do you understand it? So a male more than 20 years, okay, and has more than 53 kg, should give us type 7, should give us type 7 food. Awesome. Right, so that's how you go about coding this. Oh, I'm hopeful that this is going to help you, but please, because of time, what you can do is, if you don't understand the code, just pause, rewind, and replay and understand it. Do not hesitate to reach out to me, and I'll be glad to explain further wherever. If you have any other question you think you want to try towards the exam, you can send it to me. I'll record a video for you, and you can take it from there. Thank you guys so much, and I look forward. Wishing you all the best in the exam, and I'm so happy sharing this with you, and I look forward to the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much.